Hey everyone, it's me, Robert again, and in my last video I did part 1 of my top 20 anime heroes list.
No, it wasn't.
I know, so shut up! Anyway, this video is part 2. Starting off right away, number 10 is Haru Glory. Haru Glory is this kid who sets off on a journey to find the 5 Rave Stones, and he wields the 10 Powers sword, or as it's called in the anime, the Decaform sword. And Haru is fighting the evil demon card organization, and he journeys with his friends and gets stronger and fights powerful enemies, fighting the Dark Brings, or as it's called in the anime, Shadow Stones. And Haru, he's just this kind, funny, cheerful, and strong dude, and he portrays the image of a hero really well.
You sound gay.
Well, I'm not. Next is number 9, Natsu Dragoneel from Fairy Tail. Fairy Tail was made by the same person who made Rave Master. I'll flash the name up on screen. Natsu is a lot like Haru in a lot of ways, but then at the same time he's also very different. Like, Natsu is more animal-like, he relies more on his instincts when fighting, he goes crazy and destroys stuff more. He can't stand being on any moving vehicle or anything that's moving because he gets extreme motion sickness. But when he's on solid ground, he kicks ass. Also, another big difference is that he can eat fire. But not just fire, he can also eat Etheroin, and he's even eaten lightning too. Also, he was raised by a dragon, and so he has a lot of dragon-like qualities to him, which is very strange. It's probably because of the magic he uses, which is Flame Dragon Slayer, which turns out it was taught to him by a dragon.
Why would a dragon teach a human dragon-slaying magic?
I have no clue, but he is awesome. Anyways, next is number 8, Yusuke Urameshi from Yu Hakusho. Yusuke, he's not like the regular heroes. Yusuke is a punk. He starts off as just this punk who gets into fights, smokes, skips school, gambles, does lots of bad stuff. But Yusuke died saving a little girl from getting hit by a car. Unfortunately, it turns out the little girl was going to survive anyway, so he died for nothing, which is kind of funny. So, anyways, then he gets a chance to redeem himself and come back to life. And in order to do that, he has to undergo this trial, and after he finishes the trial, he becomes the new underworld detective. And he fights lots of powerful enemies and undergoes tons of trials, and he even fights the former underworld detective and defeats him, and eventually he finds out that he's actually the son of a demon.
So it turns out the juvenile delinquent is also the son of a demon?
But in the end, he is still a good guy. Now for number 7, Edward Elric from Fullmetal Alchemist. Fullmetal Alchemist has a very sad story behind it. The two main characters are Edward and Alphonse Elric, and they grow up in this small rural area, and their dad is never around, or, well, they can't even really remember him. And then their mom gets sick and dies from illness. And so what they do is they find a teacher to teach them how to do alchemy, and then they undergo training, and then they learn how to use alchemy, and so then they try and bring their mom back to life. Unfortunately, it goes wrong, and instead of bringing their mom back to life, Edward loses his right arm and left leg, and his brother loses his entire body. Very sad. So then, what Edward and Alphonse do is, Edward gets auto mail installed in his arm and leg, and then he sets off to become a state alchemist so that he can have better resources to search for what is known as the Philosopher's Stone. And he does this in order to try and get him and his brother's bodies back. And Edward is a genius. He is a genius. But not only is he a genius, but he's also a skilled fighter.
Just like Negi.
Kind of, but not exactly. And next is number 6, Kenshiro from Fist of the North Star. Actually, I don't really know all that much about Kenshiro. All I know is that he's kind, but he's also really badass.
Are you even going to explain how he's badass?
He can make people's heads explode just by poking them in the forehead. I think that's reason enough. Okay, next is number 5, Naruto Uzumaki. Naruto is the son of the 4th Hokage, and he is the host of the 9-tailed beast.
The host of a tailed beast is actually called the Jinchuriki.
Right. And even though Naruto starts off annoying, eventually he starts to grow up, and as he gets older, he gets way more cool and mature. In fact, right now, where I'm at in the mangas, he's actually really cool. I actually really like Naruto's character right now. The only thing bad I could say about him is that he still relies way too much on transformations, like Sage Mode, Chakra Mode, the 9-tailed foxes, Chakra, stuff like that. That's the only bad thing I can say about him. But, then again, it's pretty much the same with every Shonen Jump character. Every Shonen Jump main character, I mean.
Actually, there's a few Shonen Jump characters that don't use transformations, and they're still incredibly strong.
Right. And next on my list is Goku from Dragon Ball, Dragon Ball Z, and Dragon Ball GT. And he's number 4 on my list. Even though Goku uses way too many transformations and power-ups, he's still ridiculously strong, really cool. He's defeated really powerful opponents. And also, he always stays calm and optimistic whenever fighting an opponent. In fact, the more powerful his opponent is, the more happy and excited he gets.
You forgot to mention that he's also an idiot.
Yes, and that's part of the reason why I like him. On to number 3, Ichigo Kurosaki from Bleach. Ichigo, he starts off strong, and then he gets stronger, until he achieves Bankai. The first time he uses Bankai, it's really badass. He's really fast and really strong. And the fight against Byakuya was epic. And then Ichigo starts overusing his Bankai way too much. He starts using his Bankai against opponents who he could defeat even with his Shikai. No clue why he uses his Bankai so much, but and then he gains his Hollow's Mask or Holification, and it's literally the same thing as what happened with his Bankai. When he first gets it, it's really badass and he's really powerful, but then he overuses it, and that makes him get weak.
Like Sasuke Uchiha?
Yep, except for he redeems himself. Ichigo redeems himself in the final fight against Aizen. And finally about Ichigo is that he will do anything to protect his family and friends. Well, except for Ichigo, not only will he protect his family and friends, but he will protect anybody that he possibly can. Ichigo knows he can't save everybody in the world, but he doesn't want to just protect his close family and friends. He wants to try and protect as many people as possible, and he would fight anyone to protect them. Okay, next is number 2, Luffy. Monkey D. Luffy from One Piece. Luffy starts off as this teenager who, as a little kid, he accidentally eats the devil fruit, the gum devil fruit, and becomes a man made out of rubber. Now, a lot of people underestimate Luffy, or they think it's lame because they think he's stupid or annoying, but I really like Luffy because, I mean, he sets off all on his own at like a really young age on a tiny little boat, and he sets off to become the king of the pirates and find the treasure of One Piece. And because of Luffy's determination, he makes it pretty far. Luffy gathers a really powerful crew, a small crew, but each one of them is ridiculously strong on their own. And then there's Luffy too, and Luffy's really, really powerful himself. It doesn't matter how powerful his opponent is, Luffy will still try and fight them. But the thing I like the most about Luffy is that the thing that makes him a hero so much is that he would challenge the world to save his friends. If one of his crewmates are in danger, he would challenge the entire world. He would fight the entire world to rescue them. And I think that's really cool. That's the coolest thing ever. Anybody who would be willing to risk their life to save their friends is okay in my book.
He's not very pirate-like, though.
True, but he is still awesome. And finally, for number 1, Kimura Kenshin from Rurouni Kenshin, or Samurai X. Kimura Kenshin starts off as this legendary Batosai who was a revolutionary, and he slew thousands of people. But then after the war ended and all of the other revolutionaries took up positions of power within the government, and literally all of the greatest revolutionaries get to live the simple and best life, but Kimura decides not to do that. He decides to become a Rurouni, a wandering swordsman. Even though swords are banned, he still carries one around with him. But unlike in the past, he doesn't carry it around with him to kill people. He carries it around to save people and protect. And he decides to use his skills not to kill people, but to protect them. And he's this kind, caring guy who doesn't like to start fights. He doesn't like to get into fights, but if it is to protect somebody, he will fight any opponent. And that's what I like about him, is that he's powerful, yet still wise and kind.
I will admit, that was a pretty good list.
Thanks, Ray. And that's it for this list. Hopefully I'll be making another top 20 list, hopefully soon. Also, I'm not going to tell you guys what the next list is going to be about. You're just going to have to wait and find out. That is, if anybody actually watches these videos. Oh well. So, anyways, I'll see you guys next time. Bye.